Alright guys, welcome back, and I've decided to make another video on the scarabs because I think in my first video I didn't do the best job in explaining how you can perfectly counter these guys. So there's a couple things to keep in mind about this unit. It's a very strong unit against air and ground. It doesn't matter what type of unit it is. So I initially, when I first started this game, I thought like air units would counter these guys. I thought they couldn't attack air units, but they can. So just keep that in mind. They can attack any type of units, and they're very strong while they're standing on top of a tile and not moving. So if you move a unit adjacent to these guys, basically the scarabs will go into this attack jump animation where it's invincible for a small time and your unit can't fight back. So you do no damage to these guys while one of these bombs launch onto your guy and your guy dies. So this unit comes in a pack of 2, and when it does that, while your unit dies, only one of their bug dies in the scarabs unit pack. So the other scarab is still alive and ready to kill your next unit that walks up to this guy. So you really want to avoid moving your unit right next to this unit while it's standing. Now if the scarabs are moving, that's when you want to move your guy next to scarabs, because then you can get some damage on these guys while they're moving and you can possibly kill them, because scarabs are very low on their health and their speed is just about average. So they're not a very fast moving unit, and if they're moving they can't attack, and they have this slow animation where they have to kind of prepare themselves once they stop moving, and then they'll jump onto your unit. So attack them while they're moving, but don't ever go near them while they're standing. Keep that in mind guys, and let me show you guys a couple of replays on how you can exactly deal with these. Alright guys, so this will be the first game. I'll be the player on the left hand side as red, and my opponent will be on the blue side. And I'm just going to slow it down here. I go into Harvester and he goes for a scarab. I'm going to pause the video right here. A lot of scarab players like to just go into a barrack and build 2 of these scarabs right off the bat, because you have enough crystals for that. You don't have to go into a Harvester. And their mindset is, I'm going to control the launch pads early on in the game, or he's going to use one of those scarabs to kill your Harvester. Yes, one scarab unit with 2 healthy bugs can kill a healthy Harvester, so keep that in mind. They may go for that, or he's going to send 1 scarab to the top launch pad and 1 to his launch pad or to my launch pad, and pretty much that will zone any of my early game units. So keep that in mind. What you always want to do early on in the game is you want to scout your opponent, see what he's going for, and that's exactly what I'm going to go do. So I'm going to play the video right here. I go for a barrack and I go into some militant units. Now if you don't have the militants, of course you can build laser squads, or if you don't have infantry units at all, then you would have vehicle units and you could go into buggies, for example. So in this gameplay I've brought the militants, for example. So I send out my militants, which are cheap scouting units. They give me a lot of visible scouting range on the map, and I see that he's got scarabs at this point. And what I do is I immediately move my militant onto the top launch pad, trying to contest with that guy, because I don't want his scarabs to just stand there while I don't do anything. Because if I let his scarabs get to that launch pad without me trying to zone his scarabs, that's gonna hurt me a lot, and it's gonna help him secure the first missile here. So what I do is I quickly move up my militant squad right next to the scarab, and you can see the scarab is still moving, right? It's not actually standing still, so it can't jump and attack me right away. And I know that this militant squad will die because he gets to stand first, but I get to at least do some damage, and I'm hopefully thinking I can kill this full unit along with my militant, because it only takes half of the scarab to kill 1 militant unit, which means I have to spend 2 militants to kill 1 scarab unit. So my goal is to just kill this unit with 1 militant squad, and I did, because I killed one of his bugs before one of those bugs could jump onto my unit. As you saw, my militant can't attack when the bug jumps, so keep that in mind. They're very strong while they're standing, and they're very weak while they're moving. And I'm gonna pause here. Now you saw me going right into a militant squad again and going for the top launch pad, because I know he's gonna pump out these scarabs. He's gonna try to control this launch pad before he builds a harvester or before he does anything else. That's their strategy. They want to put these scarabs onto these launch pads so he can secure it early and scare my units away. So I send in my militant squad immediately. Militants are great against scarabs, by the way, so that's why I keep building them. So I send it to the launch pad, and I stop them from moving. So if he comes onto this tile, I will attack it. And he knows what's going to happen. Because if the Scarab moves up to that militant squad, it will die. On a 1 versus 1 fight, while the militant is standing and the Scarab is moving, the Scarab will die because it will take half damage while it's moving, and then while it's standing readying itself to attack, the other bug will die as well. So that's what you want to do. You just want to stop your militant squad from moving. Just hold them onto that launch pad. Don't move your militant. Just leave them there. And as you see, he's moving his Scarab now down to my launch pad, and I know exactly what he's trying to do. He's trying to secure that launch pad if you can't control the top one. So I send out my other militant squad, and I stop my militant on this tile so I can attack the Scarab while it's moving, because I know his Scarab is not going to stop moving. He can't stop moving his Scarab, but it's most likely going to die if he does, regardless. So you can see I stop my militant squad immediately and I start attacking, and he's already down below half health. He's still got 1 bug remaining, which can kill my militant, but at this point my militant will be fast enough to shoot it down before it launches itself. So let me go ahead and speed it up a little bit. I send out a 3rd militant squad, and what I do here is something I call zoning the Scarabs, and that's exactly what I'm doing. If I move my guy first, I will lose. So basically, I'm just creating this wall, this zone, this area where his bugs can't really move. So he's kind of stuck in a rut right now. He doesn't have an economy going. His early strategy failed. He goes for a Flame Trooper instead. He still has no Harvester. So at this point, he's very much in a troubled spot. As I've got my economy going, I go for some chem buggies. Just to let you know, chem buggies are very good against infantry units, including these Scarabs. Attack bikes are not. As you guys see, the attack bikes on the right, it will go down immediately. The attack bike cannot attack fast enough. But chem buggies are actually decent on Scarabs, but as you saw there, that Scarab took out my chem buggy. It really depends on the situation. If you can get at least 1 gas tick on these Scarabs, then your chem buggy can actually put up a fight with these guys before going down. But in that case, the chem buggy just died. But I didn't really care about losing my units here. As you see there, my chem buggy, it actually attacked the Scarab before it went down, because chem buggies can attack while moving. But at this point, like, I already knew I was going to win the game, so I just started, just sacking off my units. I also wanted to just kind of rush his base with my chemical clouds. I just wanted to really mess around at this point. As you guys saw, like, that beautiful nuclear missile that ignited on all of his units. I already knew I was going to win the game, but there you go, guys. You can zone your enemy Scarabs by using cheap, effective units like the Rifleman and the Militant that can attack rapidly. There are certainly other units you can use like the Buggy and the Rhino as well. Alright guys, so this will be the second match, or the second replay. And my opponent here will go for Scarabs indeed. And once again, they just go straight into the Scarabs. Like I said, they usually don't go for the Harvester. And in this case, he's actually trying to go for my Harvester. As you see, his Scarabs were moving towards the mineral line. He wants to zone me from harvesting, and I actually go for an attack bike opening here, so I know exactly what he's trying to do, because I see 2 Scarabs on the map and I see no Harvester. He moves one of his Scarabs onto the top, and I'm not going to build any Harvesters, because as soon as I move it to the top, it's going to die. So keep that in mind. You might make that mistake if you miss that first Scarab. If you don't see that Scarab coming onto the mineral line, he can actually sneak it in and kill your Harvester, and that's 300 crystals for your opponent. I've got the launch pad secured, luckily, and I just move my attack bike around to see if he's gonna ever build a Harvester or not. And I just start pumping out militants, because I see laser squads, I see Scarabs. Militant is definitely the way to go, and I see 1 Harvester coming out, and he knows my attack bike's right on top of his mineral line as well. So we're both kind of just zoning each other, but I've got the launch pad advantage. And I'm very careful to not move my Militant next to that Scarab unit, because I know it's going to attack and kill my Militant as soon as I do that. He brings out 1 Scarab unit there, and it kills my Militant. And I decide to sack off some Militants on the top, as you guys saw there, on top of that Scarab unit. Because, I mean, at this point, I've got 2 launch pads secured. I got the first missile gone. So I decided to send out 2 militants to deal with that Scarab unit on the top so I can start farming some crystals. So it's okay to sack off some cheaper units like that. I mean, once you've got the map secured and you're in a good position. I'm in a position where I'm pretty much going to win the game, as he was not harvesting any crystals himself. He's not at an economic advantage. So there's really nothing for me to worry about, and that's why I decided to sack off some units. You really don't want to sack off units randomly, because that's what I used to do. I used to just kind of send out, when I was a beginner, I used to just send out units. I just try to kill the Scarab by making a blow up onto my guy, but that's not really the best way to deal with them. You really want to just try to zone the Scarab unit as best as you can, and you should only be sacrificing your units if it's going to make your situation better, or if it's going to help you win the game. So anyways, I take the win here, and that's really another way you can deal with these guys. And this was an example to show you guys to be careful of the Scarab Harvester rush, because he was actually trying to kill my Harvester there. And I know newer players may not see that, and you'll give 100 crystals to your opponent if you send a Harvester on top, because the one Scarab unit, or the unit that comes with the 2 bugs, will kill 1 Harvester at full health. Alright guys, so in this final replay, I'm going to show you Nod Kane versus Sarpedion, and it's a Masters game. I'm not featured in this game here, but Nod Kane uses these Scarabs in this game, and you'll see what Sarpedion does to counter these Scarab units. Now, Sarpedion goes into barracks, and he's going to build a sniper, and the snipers are the perfect counter to Scarabs, because Scarabs have a 2-tile range, and they can keep their distance from these Scarabs. So the Scarabs are going to lose no matter what. And Nod Kane knows this. He goes into Chemical Warriors instead. As long as he can bring the Chemical Warriors right up to the face on these snipers, he can kill them. So he's not building Scarabs yet, as he sees those snipers. Rhinos are also, like I said, Rhinos and Buggies are also good for Scarabs, but they just cost a bit more than the Militant and the Rifleman. They will still, one of those Rhinos or one unit of Buggy will still die to just one of those little bugs. So just keep that in mind. And he keeps going for Scarabs and Rhinos as he sees a whole bunch of infantry on the map. And of course, Rhinos and Snipers do a great amount of damage to infantry units, so he's definitely playing well here. And as you guys can see, one of his Rhino fell down to half of his Scarab unit, but the Sniper is such an effective counter. He sniped that one bug that was still alive. And he continuously goes for Chemical Warriors, and our player Sarpedion accidentally walks into the flame that is left behind by the Scarab units. I forgot to mention that actually in this video. The Scarabs, when they die, they will leave this burning patch of flame, so you never want to walk on top of it. And Nod King goes for a beautiful missile there, taking out 2 Rhinos and a Sniper, I believe, there. And unfortunately, Sarpedion's Rhinos are just too strong for Nod Kane's infantry here, and he will take the first missile here against our player Nod Kane. Nod Kane goes for another Scarab unit here, and he's really trying his best to I guess control these launch pads here, but it's not working out for him. While the Rhinos are standing, they're going to tear apart these Scarabs, so he can't move these Scarabs right next to he can't walk up to them while the Rhino is moving. The Scarabs are most vulnerable while they're moving. And another missile comes out from Nod King, but only one Rhino gets taken out as Sarpedion micros his Sniper away. And Nod King goes for some more Scarabs, but that one Scarab on the top gets shot down by these Snipers, and that really hurt for Nod King. Nod King sends out a Militant to try to bait out the Sniper shots there to protect his little bugs. And Sarpedion goes for another perfect counter, the Disruptors. And Disruptors are also a really nice counter because they're super effective against infantry, and they have a 2-tile range. So they don't actually have to walk up into the Scarab's range, and the Disruptors will pretty much destroy and zone these Scarabs out. So this whole game, Nod King was pretty much countered really hard, you know, from the start because he had snipers, and now he's got disruptors. So you know, there's no way his scarabs can walk up to this now, because the disruptor will start attacking as long as the scarab is within the 2 tile range. And you saw that scarab just getting torn apart, and Nod King, I guess, pretty much gives up at the end here. So yeah, the perfect counter is probably going to be the sniper or the disruptor, as they're very strong against infantry units and they have a 2 tile range. So if you guys enjoyed the video, once again, you can comment, subscribe, and like, and I'll see you guys next time.